In the heart of modern Manhattan, where billions shift with each tick of the market, stands a name etched deep into the DNA of American capitalism: Chase. But Chase didn't just appear. Its roots go back over 100 years, to a man who didn't just influence finance, he reshaped it. This is the story of how a private banker became a public legend, the story of power, panic, and control, the story of J.P. Morgan, and how his legacy became Chase, the banking empire, the boy who studied money. John Pierpont Morgan was born in 1837 into a world already built on wealth. His father, Junius Spencer Morgan, was a seasoned financier, and young Pierpont grew up around ledgers and letters of credit. But J.P. wasn't just born into money. He was shaped by it. He studied in Boston, trained in London, and refined his skills in Germany. By the time he returned to America, he wasn't just educated. He was ready to dominate finance. His early exposure to international banking gave him a rare global perspective at a time when most American financiers thought locally. He observed European banking dynasties and understood the importance of structure, control, and long-term vision. Morgan absorbed not just knowledge, but strategy, learning how to leverage capital, manage risk, and assert influence. These formative years abroad didn't just make him capable, they made him competitive. With polished manners, sharp instincts, and unmatched ambition, he entered the American financial world not as a newcomer, but as a force already in motion, poised to change the very nature of capitalism in the United States, a nation in chaos. As the Civil War tore through America, the nation wasn't just split by politics, it was financially shattered. Banks failed, gold prices spiked and dipped, chaos ruled the markets. What America needed was order, and J.P. Morgan stepped in. He started by funding railroads, risky ventures back then. But Morgan had vision. He didn't build railroads. He financed, organized, and merged them into networks. He wasn't just backing the industrial age. He was steering it forward. Morgan understood that infrastructure was a backbone of national growth. While others feared volatility, he saw opportunity in the chaos. He used his capital not just to profit, but to consolidate, bringing structure to a scattered and inefficient rail system. Through strategic partnerships and financial leverage, he gained control of key lines and pushed for standardization, boosting trade and travel across states. Railroads weren't just steel and timber to him. They were instruments of economic unity. And in uniting the railways, Morgan began to unite the fractured economy, positioning himself as a quiet yet commanding architect of America's industrial future. The man who owned the night. In 1879, a young inventor needed backing to light up the world. His name? Thomas Edison. And his biggest believer? J.P. Morgan. Morgan didn't just invest in electricity. He embraced it. He helped launch Edison Electric, which later became General Electric. Morgan's home was one of the first lit by electric light. Soon, so was Wall Street. He didn't just bet on innovation. He wired the future. And in doing so, he powered a new era of finance and energy. Morgan saw more than just a flicker in Edison's bulb. He saw the potential to revolutionize life and commerce. At a time when gas lamps still ruled the streets, he recognized that electric power could fuel the next phase of industrial growth. By backing Edison, Morgan wasn't just supporting a single invention. He was laying the groundwork for electrifying cities, factories, and eventually entire economies. His decision reflected a broader pattern in his career, identifying groundbreaking ideas early and giving them the capital and confidence they needed to scale. With each new light, Morgan's vision became reality. Panic of 1893. America nearly collapses. In 1893, America faced collapse. Banks failed. The stock market panicked. And the U.S. Treasury was running out of gold. The government was powerless. But Morgan wasn't. He rallied European banks and secured $60 million in gold. A private citizen bailed out the U.S. He didn't do it for free. He gained massive influence. Morgan saved Wall Street, the dollar, and arguably the country. It wasn't charity, it was control. And with that, Morgan's power moved beyond Wall Street, into the heart of America, a house of finance. By 1900, J.P. Morgan wasn't just a banker. He was an empire builder. He helped create U.S. Steel, the world's first billion-dollar firm. He had influence in General Electric, AT&T, and major railroads. His firm, J.P. Morgan and Company, became a financial force. At the center stood 23 Wall Street, the corner. People called it the House of Morgan. From there, he didn't just observe the markets. He controlled them. Morgan's name became shorthand for power, stability, and the beating heart of American finance. The Panic of 1907, Morgan saves America again. In 1907, history repeated itself. Markets crashed, banks failed, fear spread, no government rescue, no Federal Reserve. But there was J.P. Morgan. He gathered New York's top bankers into his library, locked the doors, and said, "Fix this." He forced negotiations, loans, deals. He engineered a rescue plan within days. It worked. Morgan alone saved the markets. And this crisis led to a new idea, that one man shouldn't hold all that power. So, in 1913, the Federal Reserve was born. The end of an era. In 1913, J.P. Morgan died in Rome. At that time, he controlled more wealth than the federal government. His power was unmatched. President Roosevelt once said, "J.P. Morgan is not a man. He is a force of nature." But his legacy didn't end there. His firm, J.P. Morgan and Company, continued expanding. What he built became the model for modern banking. His name would live on, not just in history books, but in vaults, boardrooms, and financial systems around the world. The rise of Chase. In 1955, Chase National Bank merged with the Bank of the Manhattan Company, founded by Aaron Burr back in 1799. The result, Chase Manhattan Bank. It grew fast. But the real turning point came in 2000, when Chase Manhattan merged with J.P. Morgan and Company. That moment combined two financial giants and created J.P. Morgan Chase and Company. A new titan emerged, blending Morgan's legacy with Chase's reach. Together, they formed a superbank, one with deep roots and global influence, modern dominance. Today, J.P. Morgan Chase stands as America's largest bank and one of the most powerful in the world. Its reach spans personal banking, corporate finance, investment banking, asset management, fintech, and crypto. With over $3.8 trillion in assets and clients in more than 100 countries, Chase is a financial empire. It's a machine that touches every sector. And though Morgan never saw this future, his DNA runs through it. Control, innovation, expansion, it's all still there. But power draws attention. And J.P. Morgan Chase has had its share of criticism. The 2008 financial crisis, lawsuits, fines, political pressure. Its CEO, Jamie Dimon, is one of the most recognized names in banking. Supporters say he's a visionary. Critics say he's too powerful. But through it all, Chase keeps growing. It adapts. It dominates. Because in the modern world, money isn't just currency. It's influence. And Chase holds more than most.